Good evening. Today is June 3rd, 2021. It is 5:30 p.m. and this is calling to order the regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Bandera. We are located at the Conference Center at Best Western Hotel, 711 Main Street. Item 2 is our invocation and pledge. Will, would you please lead us in our invocation?
Most gracious and loving Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us all together today. Thank you for the rain. Thank you for all your many blessings, especially thank you for your Son who died upon the cross for our many sins. We ask for your blessings upon the city, the county, the state, and most of all our great country during these troubled times. Bless us and keep us and get us all home safely this evening. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, and just real quick for the record, all council members are present with the exception of Darcy Hasty, and the mayor is also absent. So I'm filling in as Mayor Pro Tem to direct the meeting this evening. We also have present the city treasurer, city administrator, city marshal, and city secretary. At this time, are there any visitors to be heard?
Who's on the line? Were you going to announce who's on the line?
Oh, yeah, thank you. And also present are our city attorney and Allison. Allison, will you introduce yourself? I don't believe any of us have met you.
Hi, yes. I'm Allison Bastian Rodriguez, and I am an associate attorney with the firm.
Okay. Thank you, Allison, and thank you, Tony. We have no visitors to be heard at this time. Out of necessity, we're going to rearrange our meeting a little bit this evening. We're going to start with item 7, closed session. The City Council will convene in closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 551074, personnel matter, to deliberate the resignation and appointment and or employment of a public officer or employee, to wit, City Administrator Terry Bird, and pursuant to Government Code Section 551071, consultation with attorney, if necessary, to seek advice of the city attorney on any legal issues associated with any matter posted on this agenda. So the first thing I'm going to want to do is swap the order of those two and go ahead and go into consultation first. But what I want to know, Terry, when we get to your item, would you prefer to have that in open or closed session?
Closed session.
Okay. So at this time, I'll ask everyone in the audience and the staff to leave council for consultation with attorney. Okay, it is 7:14, and I'm reconvening the open meeting of the City Council. And at this time, council, with respect to the time of our staff, everybody, but Ben Rosenberg specifically, we're going to move item A on up at this time. So under item 6, discussion and possible action on the following items, we're going to go with A, update from Ben Rosenberg on the Texas Water Development Board flood funding for Flood Infrastructure Fund project. Please take it away, Ben.
Point of order, you don't have to do whatever y'all came out of the session to do, talk about it later?
Nope, we're going to, yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
I just wanted to hear.
You can stay.
Well, I had to produce some more paper, so I appreciate you guys letting me come today for this project. We started last summer and was here, I guess, in December, and we talked
Very
about
exciting.
the project, and
Thank you.
then we reduced the scope, and then therefore they got delayed a little bit. Otherwise, I'd have been here. But so tonight is we're just about 2 weeks away from actually approving the loan. We're still in the 45-day wait period for the notice of intent, and so this is what we call the bond sale summary that I will present in 2 weeks. Since I will not be here, the attorneys will be here, but the numbers are not going to change. So since we have a $2.9 million zero interest loan and a $2.4 million grant, total of $5.4 million for the project. And you can see on page 2 here that this is a 30-year maturity. And one thing they offered, I guess because there's zero interest, is it's callable at any time. Normally, the Water Development Board requires a 10-year payment period. But if you come in some money or you want to pay it off early, you can basically pay it off at any time. But with zero interest, there's really no reason to pay it off early.
But no penalty.
With no penalty, you can pay it off at any time. If you had any extra money, you pay off your other debt that has interest, but you would leave this one out.
Right.
No rating and zero interest, and Water Development Board is the purchaser. So that's sort of the summary of the dollars. Page 3 and 4 is the timetable we've been working off of since last summer. As I mentioned, we're in this notice period for 45 days, and then normally there would be the week before the sale date, we would get the interest, but since, again, no interest, the sale date is June 17th. There will be quite a bit of paperwork we have to file back and forth between us and the Water Development Board after that point, but then we should be able to close on July 20th. The money will be wired into the city's accounts, and we can start the project at that time. After that, there's just a distribution list of all the names of the folks that have been involved with the project going forward, and you'll have everybody's name and phone number, contact information. And then starting on page 7 is, again, the budget of the project. Again, that hasn't changed. And then the debt service numbers, basically $99,000 a year for the next 30 years. 99 bottles of beer on the wall, as they say. And no payment for 2 years. So your next budget year, you have no payments. It won't be until the 22-23 fiscal year that you'll have your first payment.
Can I just please go back to the parties
Sure.
distribution list? I'm not seeing the city attorney, and I would think that the city attorney would be listed here in terms of reviewing the grant agreement and any other formal binding documents that the city is engaged in. And then I also am not seeing our grant writer. Am I missing?
William Moriarty, he's on page 2.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, I see now. Thank you.
Consulting engineer. We'll be
Okay.
glad to include your city attorney. I think it was just an oversight. But I mean, you do have hired counsel, bond counsel firm, which is doing all the legal documentation, the agenda items, and all
On our
the orders.
behalf, and we hired them to do that.
Certainly, but I don't know how their fee is structured, but that would be on the loan side, not necessarily on the grant side, because we don't need bond counsel on the grant side. That is work we don't need to pay for doubly, and I would think our city attorney would need to review information on the city's engagement.
I mean, I'll be glad to include them. This is what the bond attorney does, and they're the
On
ones
both
that-
sides, the grant and the, yeah, I don't.
Right, I mean, that's what they do.
Sure.
I'm glad to send it to the.
I would be very concerned about the fee structure, though. If the bond attorney, it depends on how they're feeing, but if they're feeing based on a portion of the overall, why would we want to pay out on a grant portion that our city attorney can review for us? So I would take issue to that, and it might need to come back before council, but that's my only point. So
But he just said
if you
that they're
could-
the counsel for both sides, not just one. And what am I
Not
missing?
necessarily.
We hired him to do that. We
I'd
already hired him to do that.
I'd like to just review
I'll be glad to
the
send it to them,
proposal.
include them in
Sure.
everything that we've
Sure.
done.
I would
But-
hesitate to do that, because if you're gonna send it to him, he's gonna review it and charge us, and if we're already paying somebody to
I'm
do it.
asking to review the fee schedule of the bond council, for clarification. If their fee is based on a percentage, I don't see why that would be necessary on the grant side.
But you're gonna pay one or the other.
Yeah, so I
Right.
prefer to pay the less of the two.
How do you know that, though? I mean,
Well, that's why I just asked if I could see the bond council
no,
agreement.
you asked him to be distributed on this, and if he gets it, he's gonna read it and charge us for it.
On the city side, whether
Uh-huh.
that's through Jill's distribution or whatever is relevant for our city attorney to be privy to and to be aware of, that of contracts that we're engaging in, because he is our the firm is our representation, then why would you not want them to be aware?
I didn't say that.
Okay, that's essentially all I'm
He should
saying.
be aware. He
And if-
reviews every agenda that we have. He knows we're doing this. If he felt concerned,
That's an assumption as well, that he is actually reviewing every agenda. All I'm trying to say is I think if the fee structure is based on a percentage of the total grant and loan, and we hired a bond counsel specifically for the loan side,
okay, and I just asked that question, and he said that is not true. We hired them for both sides, that covers both sides, not just the bond.
It's
And
normal
that-
practice.
It's
We didn't know
normal
how much was gonna
practice.
be loan and grant at the time.
okay. I just want to make sure that if there's the opportunity to save the city money on attorney's fees, that we're choosing the right one to review the grant portion specifically. It's a contract agreement.
I'm glad to send that information to you and the bond attorney, address that with you.
Okay,
directly. That's
okay.
Not my,
Thank you.
not my, forte,
Okay.
not my contract to discuss really.
Yeah.
There you go.
Sorry, where were you when I interrupted you, Ben?
Oh, I was just going through the debt service schedules, on the back of the, pages,
Page.
let's see, 7, 8, 9,
Yeah.
10, and, 11, that just shows the annual payments, and no payment will be due until, 2/1 of 23. We have a full year of no payments, along with the zero interest and the grant money. So I think this is really a great opportunity for the city to take advantage of this loan from the Water Development Board. And then
Yes.
lastly, on page 12 is just the pro forma analysis that was done. The Water Development Board looked at to see, can we afford this loan? And that's just the very last page, looks like this, and we just take into consideration all the revenues that you have that can go towards the debt. One is net revenues of the water and sewer system, and then your INS debt, tax that's associated for debt. You add that up, you take into consideration your existing debt, and then you take into consideration the new debt and make sure that you have ample revenues to cover both. And your revenues are well over the 1.1 coverage that they require, so they agreed to make the loan, and you should be covered.
Excellent.
Any questions?
No, sir, no action required,
No
correct?
action tonight. In 2 weeks, we'll be back, and there'll be a lot of documents to sign on that night.
Great. Thank you,
thank you,
Ben.
Ben.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. Let me, this is all jumbled at this point. Shall we go back to item 4, the workshop?
Let's go to consent agenda. Let's do workshop last.
Okay, so we'll save 4
If
for
anybody,
last.
if y'all are okay with that.
That's fine with me. So item 5, consent agenda. A, approval of minutes from the May 6, 2021 regular meeting. B, approval from the minutes of May 20th, 2021 regular meeting. C, accept resignation of Suzanne Shaman from the Bandera EDC. Jerry?
I'd like to make a motion.
Mm-hmm.
I think I can combine A and B.
Well, the whole, oh, okay. So do you want to
I
take
think we should do
C?
C separate.
It's a consent agenda, it's all or nothing.
We can
Okay.
take it
You
out.
can take one out.
Yeah.
I'd like to move to approve minutes from the May 6th and from the May 20th regular meetings.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? All in favor, none opposed. So item C, accept resignation of Suzanne Shama from the Bandera EDC. Yes, Jerry?
I'd like to make a motion.
Yes,
I
Jerry?
move to accept the resignation of Suzanne Shaman from the Bandera Economic Development Corporation.
And a second by Christine. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay. Item 6, discussion and possible action on the following. Item B, Discussion and possible action on an ordinance amending section 103061, place and time of the Bandera Code of Ordinance, to change the day, time, and/or location of the regular meetings of City Council. Anyone care to make a motion?
I don't even know why this is on here, but I'd like to make a motion to make the meetings on Monday at 5:30.
Was to move it back to.
Because you asked to move it back.
And move it back to City Hall. We didn't do it to move it here, did we?
Okay, time out. So we have a motion on the table, and just to clarify, to move the meetings to Mondays at 5:30, but
At City Hall.
at City Hall. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a
For
second.
discussion.
And I have a discussion point. Are you suggesting the first and third Mondays?
I am. That would be great.
Why Monday?
I have a conflict with that because every third Monday I have a chamber.
Okay.
Um,
How about Tuesday?
well,
I mean, it's still a discussion point. Go ahead.
I
Sorry.
would like to suggest Wednesdays.
It violates my steak night.
Well, you still get two and sometimes
I know, but
three.
it's a whole community event, a weekly event.
I remember that was an issue before too.
You know what else is repeatedly an issue is not having attorney present at our meetings.
Yeah.
And
On
I happen
Thursdays.
to know that
Yep.
Wednesdays is a good time for the firm.
I think he's
A good
good
day.
for Tuesdays too, isn't he?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Um,
I'd like to amend my motion to just move them back to City Hall and leave them the way they are.
Question. Is that times and everything?
I just.
You just want it at 5:30?
Keep first and third Thursdays at 6 o'clock at City Hall.
Okay, so we have an amended motion to move the meetings to City Hall, first and third Thursdays at 6 o'clock. Would you
I'll
second the amendment?
the amendment.
Starting in July, we have to have the next meeting here.
Okay, because it's already posted.
So amended third time, effective first Thursday of July,
Okay.
which is going to be a holiday weekend.
I'll second that.
Okay. I think we've got that all clear. It concerns me often that we don't have access to our attorney. And I think I know that steak night is a wonderful, regular community event. I don't know if we could start the
But
meeting
and I'm not just
earlier
talking
than 5.
council, I'm talking to encourage, there's
know.
there's baseball games on Thursdays, there's lots of organizational meetings on Wednesdays. So if we want to encourage community, we had the most community involvement when we had them on Mondays. But that's my recollection anyway.
Okay, so for now, we've got it. I think the motion and the second is clear. First and third Thursdays, 6 p.m., City Hall, beginning at the first meeting in July, and we have a second on that. Any other
We're
discussion?
still discussion.
Yeah, do you have?
What's the difficulty with Monday?
Every third Monday I have Chamber of Council, Chamber of Commerce meetings.
So what about the second and fourth Mondays?
Well, we do,
Does that help?
yeah.
I don't know if that helps for attorney consultation, though.
See, I think he was available, but that could have changed, that's been a while.
I could reach out to him and see
What?
what days he's available and what, and then it could come back.
He had suggested Wednesdays when I asked him. But I didn't specifically ask him, what about your
We can put it back on
Mondays?
the agenda.
Monday,
We can.
Tuesday,
Yeah,
I'm
we can put it back on the
yeah.
agenda.
Okay.
And I mean, we've
We'll just
gone
move
this
it,
far.
let's just do what this was intended, which is to move it back to City Hall. No other changes, and then if we talk to him, because Thursday just seems to always, if somebody wants to leave early for the weekend or whatever, it's like
I agree.
and the other piece to that really truly is that when you've got a staff that's flexing hours, a lot of times they take off Friday afternoon. It's a lot, and then your action items get lost, and if you're half staff on Friday, it's like, I'm just saying that you only got one day to think about everything that happened, put a plan in place, and then you got the weekend, and then Monday is a whole nother but if you start on Monday, then you almost have time to kind of organize it and finish it
Yeah.
out. And so,
What's wrong with Tuesday? What was the issue with Tuesday?
I think she said
I
she
think-
thought the attorney had Tuesday issues.
Yeah.
I think he does. I think Tuesdays, I think I remember Tuesdays as an issue. So, let's get more information and call for a vote.
And the only thing with Monday, besides me on the third Mondays, is that a lot of Mondays are holidays. That's, you know.
A lot of first
That's what I
Mondays
thought
are holidays.
Tuesday.
Well, that's true, 'cause Memorial Day, but we can usually adjust that.
Yeah, but, yeah, so, just trying to make it easier on all of us to not keep moving meetings around.
Mm-hmm.
Pick a day that-
Okay.
So, we're gonna table that, or we're just, no, we're gonna do that.
So we
Motion to
just
back
move
to-
it, motion to move it back to City Hall effective July.
First meeting in July.
Okay.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor? Okay. So let's see, where are we now? We are on item 8, action following closed session. The city council will convene following the closed session to consider any action recommended to be taken during the closed session. Item A, discussion and possible action to accept the resignation of City Administrator Terry Byrd. Jerry?
Question first. That is effective, what was the date on that?
The 20th of June.
June 20th.
June 20th. I'd like to make a motion.
Yes?
I move to accept the resignation of City Administrator Terry Byrd effective June 20th.
I'll second. Any discussion? I have discussion. It's funny. No,
Rebecca,
it's not
you
funny.
seconded that?
I did second that, and I just want to reiterate that the city administrator, will be acting in his full capacity until June 20th. And grateful that he's here and respect the time we have left with him so that we can get the place filled. Yeah, and just to reiterate that the position is an appointed position, by the council and has the full job description as it ever has. And we need to work within those boundaries for the remainder of the time. Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor? Thank you, Mr. Byrd. All in favor, none opposed. Item B, discussion and possible action to confirm the mayor's appointment of a person to fill the office of administrator in accordance with Texas Local Government Code, Section 22010E, and Bandera City Code, Section 104033. So, in the mayor's absence and being that I'm filling that role at this time, I'm going to confirm the appointment to be placed by Max Westbrook Consulting of an interim city administrator on or before June 21.
Second.
Tony seconds. Any further discussion or questions for clarification from city staff? Okay. All in favor? Okay. Sorry, 1 second. So I just made an action to confirm. So
I need a motion.
I need a motion, actually. So that wasn't a motion. That was a
okay.
confirmation of an appointment. What
Okay.
would be needed now is a motion to confirm the mayor's appointment.
I
Please.
so moved.
Tony moves to,
Second.
okay, confirm. And Christine seconds. All in favor? Okay. Thank you, council. Item C, discussion and possible action, if needed, to appoint an interim city administrator to authorize the mayor to act in the capacity of the city administrator during the vacancy or to post the vacancy and/or retain services to conduct a search for qualified candidates. I would like to make a motion if nobody else objects. My motion would be to engage the services of Max Westbrook Consulting in addition to fulfilling the vacancy with an interim to engage with their services to find a permanent replacement to bring candidates to council.
I'll second that.
Okay. Got a second? Any discussion?
Yes, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So to find a permanent or you said
To fill the permanent
to fill the position or to bring us candidates to
Candidates.
fill the position?
That is correct. They will bring qualified candidates to
Okay.
council.
I just wanted to clarify. I thought that's what you meant. Okay.
Was my motion clear? Okay. I was trying not to be confusing. Sometimes it's hard. Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay, all in favor. So we are now going to go back up to item 4A, discussion of fiscal year 2021-2022 budget. And I'd like to turn this over to the city administrator and the city treasurer at this time for comment.
Thank you, Ben.
Wherever you're comfortable, as long as everyone can hear you.
I can't hear. Come on
I
up.
put chairs there just so it would be closer to the recorder.
Oh, that's a good point.
It's fine, I'll just lay on the top.
On the round table.
So we just started our budget season and the numbers are going to change. We did just get numbers in from TML on the health insurance and things like that. And so it did not go up as much as we anticipated, which is good. So we also got the numbers, the percentages for our police staff, our property taxes, or our property insurance, what else? The errors and omission was on there. So those numbers have been plugged into the budget, so the numbers have already changed just from what you guys have already received. So we're just plugging away and trying to get as much information as we can for this, for the budget. So I don't know if you guys had any questions or comments on what was the budget, if you had a chance to look at it or anything like that.
My question is more about the process, a little bit about the process. So I don't think it's necessarily set in stone, but oftentimes when in these workshops, we go over sections at a time. And you might just still be plugging in numbers to the point that we're not quite ready for that. But we would want to hear from the Public Works Department and what are the needs, what are the big changes from the Marshal's Department. Any major needs, are all the line items still relevant and things like that, just to have more dialogue face to face as a group as we start to move forward. And sometimes we end up, scheduling a few extra meetings. So I realize we're just opening up the season, we're just getting started. So I do enjoy that part of the process, though.
I don't know when this cover sheet started, but I like this a lot.
I don't either. You could ask.
Oh, yeah, I've never seen, I mean, I know
I
you.
don't think we
I don't
saw it
think
last
so.
year.
Okay.
So,
Whoever
that was
did
good.
that, I like it, because, I mean, it gives me an assessment. I remember the first time I went over a budget, I went over line item by line item, and it's painful.
Good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's something that I will continue.
Thank you.
May I ask the question, and Will, you might be able to answer this. I don't know if this is something that's in our local ordinances or policies, or if it's mandated by the state, but the longevity increases and the raises of 5% per employee for this department, and kind of the same language in the code compliance. Is that something that I've seen before and just don't remember?
The longevity, something that a previous council voted, and I don't think, but I may be able to pull it out of my notebook I have here with me. That's something a previous council voted. The longevity is a 3 or 5% after 1 year for the marshal's office, and then every other year.
That's what she's referring to off of that document.
And then a 2.5% longevity every other year after that. I had asked for a 5% merit raise, which would be merit, not an across the board, contingent upon evaluation. We didn't do raises last year, just strictly longevity stuff.
Okay.
So the 2.5% for the ones who are eligible for the longevity ones is something council has approved probably, I think it was a year before I started working here, maybe 2 years.
I've seen it.
So is that something that's standard for marshals and police departments in a city to have? I mean, is it something that you feel like we need to have to be competitive? Because
A lot of cities have a longevity, some form of a longevity system for all their employees, whether it's a set dollar amount per month or week or year. Some do a lump sum amount. You know, this is the first place I've worked that did it this particular way.
I've had the wrong job. I've never even heard of this.
Yeah.
It's like,
I've had longevity, but it was structured very differently.
Like I said, this is the first place where it's been a percentage every other year like this. You know, most places it's a set amount a month or it's figured
just,
differently.
and the reason I asked my question was because it was interesting that a city council would just do it for a marshal's department and not for because if you've got important key people in your positions, I mean, you either do it for one or you do it for, I guess that's why I thought maybe it was specific to law enforcement.
Except maybe it's more difficult to get law enforcement than it is some of the other positions.
You're saying they're floaters? They don't stick around long?
But also too, wasn't that about the time we changed from police department to marshal department? Was that a
Well, it would have been not long after the marshal's office was formed, and they hired a marshal, and then he promptly left, and I believe it was when Mike Cardenas was the city administrator. They were working on changing the culture and changing a lot of the the bad things that had gone on in the past under the police department.
Right, so I think it was an incentive
And if you
thing
notice, we've
back then
hired good folks and retained, under that. So I would suggest to you that
It's
been a
working.
good investment. It's worked, and if you don't like it, I would plead with you to, if we're going to do away with it, if we don't like it, please replace it with something that we do like better, not just to throw it out, because it has been. I mean, if you look at, say, the sheriff's office here, their turnover is terrible, and we're having there's lots of problems, but we're not having them here, so please don't do that.
Well, they have lots of problems we're not having here that don't have anything to do with longevity pay.
Jill?
I just was gonna say, last year, the city administrator at the time had Amber prepare a longevity thing, and it came before the previous council, and it was not accepted for the rest of the staff. So that did come to council last year, you remember?
Okay. I think all of it's worth a deeper conversation that we can get into at another
I'd like
workshop.
a dollar amount, like those people that qualify for this 2.5, I'd kind of like,
What
I'd
does
like
it
the
mean?
quantity, like a dollar amount, what that would affect, how that would affect our true budget. It's like, I mean, most of y'all have been here a while, so I would think that it was.
Does anybody have anything further they want to add to the budget workshop at this moment? If no, with council's permission, I'm going to just real quick pop back to item 6B on the day and time of the meetings, just to let you guys know. I heard back from the city attorney, and the second and fourth Mondays at 6 p.m. does work. So just keep that on your radar, or I don't know if you want to,
So we want to readdress? Okay.
I've opened the agenda item back up.
Okay.
So,
Your first motion was 5:30 though, right?
Yeah,
But then
and
she
I
changed
nixed
it.
it out, but yeah. So he's okay with, what time was it?
the second and fourth Mondays at 6.
At 6, okay. I'd like to make a motion
Go right ahead.
to change the city meetings to Mondays, the second and fourth Monday of each month at 6 o'clock at City Hall.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Any further discussion on this? See how it goes?
Yeah,
Yeah.
good thing I write in pencil.
All in favor? Okay, thank you. Okay, now we're on item 9, requests and announcements.
Are we
Item,
done with the workshop?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Do you have something? I know that way.
We're still, I think it wasn't clear that we were done.
Oh, I thought it was.
Okay.
I asked if there was anything further, and then I changed the agenda item, so I don't know how to be any clearer. Item 9,
We're not used
requests
to things going that
and
smoothly.
announcements. Item A, request by council to place items on a future agenda. Yes, Tony?
I would like to request a follow-up with our city administrator, whether it be in a special meeting or, because I know some of the council is not going to be here the next one, like the next scheduled meeting. So if we wanted a full council, we might want to consider doing one next week if for follow-up questions that we may have. And also, I would like to start with a formal exit interview. Maybe we could do it at the same time. I know they're different topics, they could kind of be the same thing, but I think we need to start that precedence for people that are exiting the city and that would like to address council directly. I think they should have the opportunity to do so. So
Okay.
I would like those two things to be coordinated.
Is there anything else on your list?
I didn't
On your
have,
wish list?
I don't have it written down, so I don't remember.
I would like to request that our first meeting in July, we revisit our options for building code adoption and amendments. And we may need a brief workshop, or maybe it's just a lengthy agenda item, I'm not sure. But definitely would want an action item in addition to or separate from a workshop. Is there anything else at this time, council? So item B, announcements by council. Nothing to announce to the world.
I will say, I would
Okay.
like to actually say, there's not a lot of people here, that the Memorial Day Parade went very well, and we were very thankful for everybody that showed up despite the rain. We did have quite a few cancel and not show up, but I think it still went very well, and people seemed to enjoy it, and everybody did a good job showing up and participating.
The weather was perfect once it cleared. Yeah, it was pretty.
Yeah, I was starting with calls right before I saw your first text about, is it canceled? I'd already had a couple, and it was like, no, it's too soon to stop, and then it worked out great, so.
On announcements, does anybody have the information about Riverfest on the top of their minds? They could just.
Tricia probably does.
Tricia, thank you. Would you please?
It will be at the Twin Elm Guest Ranch.
Last Saturday.
A large
Last Saturday.
barbecue. They'll have also the car show. They'll have vendors, they'll have music. And I think the river will be well home for that too. So
Excellent.
I'm not sure of all of the plans. It'll be modified, I'm sure, based on location.
Weather.
Okay, item 10 is to adjourn the meeting. Jerry?
I move to adjourn this meeting.
I'll second that. We all second that. Any further discussion on that item? All in favor? All in favor, none opposed. I call this meeting to a close at 7:50 p.m.